Hey guys, I respect the beard. Trust me, I respect the beard. This is a guy who deserves this decision. This is a guy who deserves this match, and I think it's going to make SummerSlam an awfully special occasion. Now, if he should choose to select me and accept my challenge, well, I select to face me for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam. I select Daniel Bryan.
Wow. Yes, yes, yes. That's huge. There he is. This place just erupted. That's a popular decision.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff.
What originally went in a trailer on the side of Highway 78 in Graysville, Alabama, that moved to the J.T. Roberts Entertainment Complex in Planet Rock 92.5, that moved to the Alabama Radio Network, and then from there got taken worldwide, and then some. This is Beyond Ringside. The Magic City Motor Mouth, Fast Eddie Layne, live from the vault on this Tuesday night, July the 16th. And I'm having major flashbacks in a good way tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome in longtime tag team partner, one of the originals, if you will. And I ain't talking about ECW originals. We have more staying power sometimes. So we've been told. The Machine, Guff Grayson, in the house. Or should I say flashback style, Big Daddy Guff Grayson. What's up, my man?
Hey, nothing to it, Eddie. What's going on with you, brother?
Dude, we're taking it back to basics. We're going to have a little fun. No stress, no drama, no worries. Check the egos at the door, and let's have some fun. Speaking of fun.
Man, it's all about shock and surprises, man. I love this kind of stuff where you can get back to the initial fun of what this world's all about and find out the good times and great places that you can go and see people and then shock the world whenever you need to, right?
Exactly, my friend. Speaking of having fun with it, you and I discussed just before we went on, and actually, folks, I'll tell you what, we're winging this like never before, and I want to let everybody know, coming up in about 24 minutes, we're going to be joined by pro wrestling star Don Maximo, and not a lot of you will know Don from the Sunshine State of Florida, especially his work in Vintage All-Star Wrestling in Florida. They got a huge show coming up this weekend. At the top of the hour, top of the 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern time, we're going to be joined by promoter from the LXW here in Alabama, Kevin Brannon. And at 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central, we are going to be joined by Pete Cannon, the commissioner of Vintage All-Star Wrestling down in Florida. So we got a loaded lineup.
Yes, you do, Eddie Layne. Yes, you do.
Now, before we kick it into gear, there's a couple of things I want to say. I made a comment on Twitter and on Facebook. And for those who know me, I don't use social media lightly. I keep the world in proper perspective for social media. And by the way, real quick, I want to let everybody know, I'm sorry, I meant to do this a minute ago. If you have Winamp Mobile, you can listen to us through the Shoutcast patch. If you have Ustream Mobile, you can listen through Ustream Mobile. Find us Beyond Ringside Live. We are live through our Facebook fan page. We are live on a number of different fronts. Kind of a big stretch from the side of 78 in Graysville, huh, Guff?
Going worldwide from trailer wide, all in a matter of a few years, right?
From a double wide to worldwide is how I said it one time.
Yeah, man.
And that trailer sure as hell wasn't a double wide.
That's right. No. The Tune trailer, as I believe it was.
You got
called.
it. The mobile home of music, merriment, and mayhem is what I pinned it with. And Robbie Rags, a longtime friend of ours, actually was one of the ones who originally drugged me into that mobile home. I forgive you later, Rob. I trust you too. Also, real quick, couple of people I want to say hello to. Tracked him down over on LinkedIn, business networking site, Late Night Lloyd Riley. Haven't had a chance to really get into in-depth discussion with him, but tracked him down recently. Had a chance to speak the last couple of days to the Hitman BDC, Ryan Adcock, Evil, Adam Smith, Understudy, Rogers Alley, Zen Master DMC, Doug McGarry. So you are going to have a lot of the BR Generation 1, the originals, coming on board over the next few weeks. Daryl B, glad to see you in the chat room. To everybody who's floating through the Ustream chat room, guess what? Come over to .com. Seriously. I don't use social networking lightly, especially not on the Beyond Ringside account. On Fast Eddie Layne, I'll say anything at any time and not give a flying rat's ass. But I made the comment, check the egos at the door. And if there's two people in this world right now, because for as much fun as it has been, it's been a really weird mix over the last couple of months. And when I made the statement that Guff and I are winging it like you wouldn't believe, what was it like over at 92 back in the early part when it was Z92 before, while we were doing the first episode of BR? It was all winging it.
Oh, yeah. It was come in, fly, read it off of paper, shoot from the hip, and hope it sticks. And, brother, it stuck because we gathered the groundswell of audiences, and everywhere we went, nobody believed it was us. And then we would say the words, and they would go, man, it is y'all. It is Big Daddy. It is Fast Eddie. It is Late Night Lloyd. Those were great times, Eddie. Great times.
And you're going to love this because the show that Southern Star, as it was becoming Global Championship Wrestling, ran at the JT Roberts Complex. I just found some of those pictures, including the mugshots we did for the promo pictures.
Nice.
I'm going to put them up on Facebook right next to the picture of you and the alien. Which one was which, we'll never tell.
I remember that picture well. I also remember you standing next to a couple of Daisy Duke chicks in the ring there.
Oh, you got it, buddy. The franchise was in the house. Now,
there you go.
For those who haven't had a chance to catch up, I've made a reference to him on more than one occasion, the Machine or Big Daddy Guff Grayson. He was originally Big Daddy Guff Grayson in the first incarnation of Beyond Ringside, but you did what a lot of people dream that they could do, whether they are behind the microphone or just in the stands. And you moved from you went and added being in the ring to the arsenal of being behind the microphone.
You know, I owe a lot to you and I owe a lot to Mr. Mad Dog. When they walked in and they saw that I was 6'4", 275, and they said, well, why don't you climb up in the ring? And I've never wanted to back down from a challenge. You know that, Eddie. So I went ahead and handled my business, got in the ring, got it going, and we pronounced Global Championship Wrestling right off of that.
Yep. Went on to become a multi-time GCW Tag Team Champion. I do believe you have held the GCW Heavyweight Championship on more than one occasion, right?
6-time GCW Heavyweight Champion, my friend.
Congratulations, my brother.
Thanks.
I almost felt like getting Sawyer in on this, but you know something? We could probably pull that off next week and get all three of us back in full scale.
Oh, yeah. We can do that. I talk to Mr. Mad Dog every now and then, and another guy, since we're back on Remembering Road, that I just hooked back up with and started talking to is my one-time nemesis, but always a good friend, Sweet Daddy.
I sent him that picture of us in the studio.
Oh, did you really?
Yes. Here's the scoop. And I don't know, Daryl and a lot of the others who know about this site, FastEddieLayne.com, my personal site, Layne. I have added over on my personal site, when you get to that, the link area at the top of the page, you will see the new Beyond Ringside site. Click on that link. First off, it's safe. Norton and McAfee both approve.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Even AVG might even approve of it. I don't know. But if you go down that page, you will see a lot of the faces that have been on BR over the years. And like I said, the first picture when it was myself, Guff Grayson, Alexis Carrera, Mad Dog Dan Sawyer, Lloyd was not in those pictures because he was the one taking them. We moved from there, and Lloyd was kind enough to take the shot of me, you, Zen, the ODD squad, the Odd Squad, Black Jabroni Boy, Frost, the Highlander Johnny Walker, and Sweet Daddy. And that was just before the International Wrestling Union show from that Don Lewis put on, Don Moose Lewis.
Moose?
Yeah. And, I never did see, everybody else in the frickin' country saw, but I never did see the videos or the television show that I helped them work on over there in Atlanta that time. Yeah, worked with them for
I think I saw it back in the day. Oh, and you forgot one, man. We always have to pay respect to our brothers that have passed on, and Benefactor.
Yes.
You remember Mr. Mysterious Benefactor?
Yes, I still have the picture of Zen and Mysterious as well as myself and Mysterious. I don't remember if you took a picture with him on that occasion.
Yeah, father and son picture. They look just alike.
Yeah, really. Yeah, I remember out of that show, the IWU show, a picture that was going to be, they were already heralded as two of the best junior heavyweights or cruiserweights in the world, and they went on to take it that much further, and I'm talking about Reckless Youth and Lightning Mike Quackenbush.
One of the best matches I have ever seen, even to this day, and that's even talking about the RVD Jericho match on Monday night. That was an amazing match they put on.
Nice segue there, brother. You still got the chops on that one. Yeah, talking about last night on Monday Night Raw, and a match that, in my opinion, should have been a WrestleMania match.
Yes.
You've got individuals who just have it in them to draw the best out of the person they're on the other side of the ring from. And last night, you said it, Chris Jericho, RVD, I said the fact that should have been a WrestleMania match, and hopefully both guys will stick around long enough to make that a reality. But last night, just absolutely tremendous. Guff, your thoughts?
I often think back of how long that we've been in this business and how long we've been watching wrestling, and it seems like Jericho might have been passing the torch, but you think, is he passing the torch to RVD? Did he lay down for RVD? And that just can't be the case. I think both of these guys are about to have an incredible push in WWE and come on very strong for the next title, maybe even tag titles. These guys are both incredible workers. Everybody knows that. They're top line, top notch. They never miss a beat. Man, I was stunned and amazed that I wasn't paying $49.95 to watch this one, because that was a hell of a match, Eddie Layne, a hell of a match.
Yeah, and I've got to say this, before anybody really starts knocking it, you and I are the most hypercritical of WWE pay-per-views, because we have seen so many of them over the years, and especially since the late 90s on to current day. And Money in the Bank, honestly, I made a comment to Hitman Ryan Adcock that I thought it was decent. And he's like, what are you talking about decent? That was one of the better ones that they've had recently. I said, that's the problem.
Right.
Because, and I'm not stuck in the Attitude Era. You know me better. You know me that well. I'm not stuck in any particular era, because one of my favorite matches of all time was Stunning Steve Austin and Rick Steamboat for the United States Heavyweight Championship on WCW. And of course, Steamboat Savage from WrestleMania 3. And you know me that I take every week one show at a time.
Nobody dissects it like you do, brother. Nobody.
I'm getting back to that too. Let there be no doubt. Once again, those three words, back to basics.
There you go. But now we get to do Dazed in Toyland this Saturday.
Yeah, matter of fact, folks, I was about to make, thank you for the setup on that one, but I wanted to ask you before we hit that.
Set up.
Yeah, really. There you go. Our favorite word, allegedly.
There you go.
Set up. I love it. I love it. Dude, I'm having fun. As we are 17 minutes past the top of the hour, Fast Eddie Layne, Big Daddy Guff Grayson, or the Machine Guff Grayson, live beyond ringside, back to basics on a Tuesday night. When you saw Cena setting up for the situation where he was going to select who he was going to choose for the main event of SummerSlam, did he manage to sell that properly? Did you see the way that he was like, I'm changing my mind? Can you tell I'm changing my mind at the last second? Did he actually pull that off, in your opinion?
I don't think so. He came out there trying to build up favor in himself, and it just pushed people back in the direction of Cena stuff. I mean, I don't think so. I think he's a hell of a worker, can work the mic like nobody's business. He's got more moves than Hogan and Warrior combined. But listen, when you get out there and you're drawing it out, man, people don't want that. They want high-strung action. Let's get it on and get down with it. So for him introducing everybody, like everybody needs, a calling card. Hey, well, what about Randy Orton? What about him? What about him? Enough with all that, man. Well, bring the noise, bring it down, and let's get it on.
I got to argue one little point on that, because
Hit me.
You have to look at this from this perspective. When you've got Vince, Steph, Hunter behind the scenes, and you hear what's in the crowd. You hear the crowd at any particular point in time throughout the show. And there are times when, and I did not expect the boos when Cena turned towards Sheamus. Even Cena didn't expect it. He went, "Oh, snap." And it's like, there, by the way, for the record, there are some phrases that no one should ever use. John Cena should never say, "I'll snap" again. I don't care. He can win Publishers Clearinghouse $1 million giveaway. Do not ever say "I'll snap" again.
Maybe if it was 93, it'd have been okay. But look, we're in 2013, man.
Yeah. Leave my weight out of this, 2013. Oh, no, wait, no, that's Canadian weight. I'm sorry. Hey,
there you go.
I'm still 237 in American weight. All right, we're good. But legitimately, it did to me have a semi-organic feel. The crowd was in it. They were going with it, right along with it the whole way. Like I said, I was even surprised when they booed Sheamus. I was surprised when they booed Fandango. But
I know. See, I just think that, those guys are over bigger than anything, but I think it still plays back to the fact of they've drawn it out too much. They need to go ahead and get to the action. So, that's my philosophy on it.
Well, I honestly feel it took a big leap of faith, and I use that in the truest sense of the word. Because you and I, we've been in this industry for a long time. We've been in the sport of pro wrestling for a long time. And for me personally, since the mid-'80s. For you, since the late 90s. And, there are times when it takes a leap of faith by a promoter to sit back and say, okay, we'll give it a shot. On one of the big four, on SummerSlam, they're going to go ahead and go with Cena Bryan.
Right.
I'm actually impressed to the fact that they have that much faith. Finally, there's that word, finally have that much faith in Daniel Bryan. You?
Yep. Look, the guy's got skills, even when he came in the tryouts, and he set himself apart from everyone else. Only that he's tall. He's about 5'3" and 110 pounds, but he's got incredible skills.
Yes.
Incredible skills.
And
he deserves that spot on the main event.
And an incredible technical knowledge.
Oh, yeah.
He's one of the few people, okay, it's great to be able to work a technical match. But it's even better to work a technical match with style and project your own charisma to it. Because so often you get so many people who get caught in the trap of focusing so hard on the moveset and the skill set that they forget about the personality.
Dean Malenko, Chris Benoit, that's who you're talking about on that.
Yeah, the Vanilla Midgets.
They forget the character aspect of it, and they just go along with the simple move. In my opinion, I'm always going to give my opinion, Eddie. So based on that, you get somebody that can give the same type of moves and the same type of character that WWE expects. You got a great thing, a great product that's moving in the right direction. He's over just as much as anybody else in the WWE. So, man, I got to give it to him. Give him the spot.
I think he's actually more over than a lot of people are in WWE right now, and I think that's an honest testament to the living factor of what has organically been called the IWC, the Internet Wrestling Community. And the times they have changed, the climate has changed, but you know something? Those who pay their hard-earned money to come see these shows are still of one mindset. We want the absolute best every night of the week, and if you can't give it to us, we're going to let you know it.
Sure.
That's legit.
Sure. That's bottom line, bottom dollar. People want to come. They want to be entertained. They want to see the best of the best of the best. And if they don't, guess what? In the in the age of computer literacy and Facebook and everything else, and Twitter feed, which automatically gets your word out there instantly. Nobody knows that better than you. Get your word out there on the interweb. That I mean, hell, people gonna know about it, brother.
This is where I assume that Guff would normally come in and just absolutely bust my chops, because I was actually on MySpace long before anybody else on the back on the original group was, and I actually pioneered radio shows focusing primarily on .com websites rather than going through social media in the early days through CompuServe, Prodigy, and America Online. I was like, no, we're building our own .com. And yeah, I took that. And just like today, everything that here, I mean, I don't get paid to do this. I would love to have corporate sponsors come on. I'd love to have that red and white beer that calls itself the King of Beers come on. I'd love to have
about it. No kings, my friend.
There you go. But by the same token, hey, let's put it all together. This has always been, and probably forever will be, a labor of love on my part, because it's a way of giving back to a sport and an industry that has been cool to me and great to me over the years. And if anybody, if you've been in pro
passion for you, Eddie,
I
mean, this is a true, heartfelt passion that you enjoy doing. Even if you had to pay to do it, you would do it. And that's what we need in this life. We need more people like you that want to be in this business because their heart is in it.
I check my damn ego at the door. That's the way I do it. And those who can't check their ego at the door, you need to find out why you're in pro wrestling. You want to be a rock star. You want to be a god. You want to be all this and a bag of Wheaties. The one thing you better remember, it's the people who pay their hard-earned money to come through that door that you need to impress more than anything else. Make them love you. Make them hate you. It doesn't matter, but you got to make them do something, because if they do nothing, you won't be doing anything after a short period of time. It is 25 after the top of the hour, and we're going to be going to the bottom of the hour break in about right at 5 minutes from right now. You are listening to Beyond Ringside, Back to Basics Tuesday night. Fast Eddie Layne, Big Daddy Guff Grayson. In just a few minutes, we're going to be joined by pro wrestling star Don Maximo out of the Sunshine State of Florida. In about an hour from now, we're going to be joined by pro wrestling promoter Kevin Brannon from LXW here in Alabama. And in about 90 minutes from right now, we are slated to be joined by the commissioner of Vintage All-Star Wrestling out of the Sunshine State of Florida, Pete Cannon, right here on Beyond Ringside, Back to Basics. Speaking of Back to Basics, and this is one of the reasons why I'm glad you're on board, because I haven't had a chance to sit back and say to my longtime colleague, to my longtime broadcast partner, who has finally decided to give it a whirl on his personal road to redemption this Saturday night in Sylacauga, Alabama, as part of LXW Dazed in Toyland. The Machine Guff Grayson makes his return to the ring. Guff, how big are the vultures that are going through your stomach right now?
Oh, God. Hey, listen, I ducked out after a while, and I said, the Machine Guff Grayson is gone. But somebody found me. They caught me in the right mood. I wasn't in one of my Guff Grayson moods. They said, look, come back. Just come back. No frills, no spectacular. Let's just get back to you in the ring doing what you do best.
Get back to basics.
How can I say no to that? That's what it's all about. And this cat, LXW and Dazed in Toyland, they set the card up right. There's plenty of top-notch talent on the card. So I went ahead and broke it out. I'm going to climb back in the ring one time and figure out who I got to beat up to get back on top to get some gold around my waist.
Dude, I am really looking forward, because I kind of sprung it on you earlier this week as a surprise that I'm actually doing the announcing for this show this coming Saturday night in Sylacauga.
Yes, you did, man. I've never been, and this is a terrible thing to do in this business, but I've never been that much of a self-promoter. You know that, Fast Eddie.
Of course. Okay.
I can go do it. I'll give the crowd their money's worth. I'll make them, I'll bring the house down every time and do everything I can. But when word had already gotten out, I hadn't even signed the contract to be on the show yet, and word was already spreading fast as fire. And I said, all right, here we go.
Dude,
so it's going to be exciting.
It really is, and I'm looking forward to it. And this actually, the LXW show that Kevin Brandon's going to be coming on in about 35 to talk about, it is going to be a DVD taping through Blue Fedora Productions, put out through Smart Mark Video. It's going to be a great time, because I worked the previous LXW, the debut show, for the League of Extraordinary Wrestlers, and yes, that's what it's called, LXW. I had a lot of fun. And I've worked with Kevin through both LXW and IWA Deep South. And Carnage Cup is actually going to be moving to Tennessee, Tullahoma to be exact. So, road trip, here we go again.
There you go. Hey, if money's right, I'll be there tonight, baby.
There you go.
How the saying goes.
Well, because you and I have a person in common. I'll just put it this way. Icy made the comment, is there any distance that you will not go? She asked the question, is there any distance you won't go for this industry, for the sport of pro wrestling? I said, hell no.
Hell no.
Because she knows that I went to Dallas, Texas to work the pre-show party at the AT&T Center for the WWE Hell in a Cell a couple of years ago. I made the road trip to the Ohio State Fair for the National Wrestling Alliance Supercard. I made the road trip to North Carolina and Seagrove for the Power Pro Wrestling Super Show.
Up and down the East Coast, man. You've done Philadelphia, you've done Charlotte. I've been keeping up with you. You've been all up and down that East Coast, man.
Hey, look, if it wasn't for the fact, okay, with all due respect to Kev, if I was actually clear this coming Saturday, I'd probably end up in Sanford, Florida. I mean, no, dude, seriously, that's a shoot. That's legit. Because,
really?
Yes. Tell you what, we're going to the bottom of the hour break. Hang with me through the interview because, like I said, coming up in just a couple of minutes when we come back, we're scheduled to be joined by pro wrestling star Don Maximo, who does a lot of work with Vintage All-Star Wrestling out of the Florida market. So you're going to get a chance to not only find out a little bit more about Don, but we're also going to find out about his perspective on tag team wrestling, and also his thoughts on the upcoming tag team match at Vintage All-Star Wrestling's Goldrush show, which is set for this coming Saturday night. So do me a favor. Guff, can you hang through the break?
You got it, man.
Folks, hang tight with us. We are going to go to our bottom of the hour break, and like I said, when we come back, we're slated to be joined by pro wrestling star Don Maximo right here on Beyond Ringside Live. Back to basics on a Tuesday night. Taking it back to basics and then some on a Tuesday night. Welcome back in. This is Beyond Ringside. The Magic City Motor Mouth Fast Eddie Layne behind the control panel on this Tuesday night thing. Big Daddy Guff Grayson had to split off to the side. He will be back with us very, very soon. Ladies and gentlemen, we promise we deliver. Allow me at this time to bring in our very special guest, pro wrestling superstar, specifically out of the great state of Florida, where a lot of people are going to know him, but all around the Eastern Seaboard. Don Maximo, welcome into Beyond Ringside. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Thank you for inviting me.
Now, did I pronounce it correctly?
Yes, sir.
Oh, God, I got something right. Okay, run for the hills now. Be afraid. Be very afraid. If I could, for those who have not had a chance to catch up and keep track of some of the exploits of Don Maximo, what makes you in the world of professional wrestling? How would you describe yourself to someone who hasn't had a chance to find out about you?
I mean, I'm a big baller. You know, I'm a big brawler. I don't play no games in the ring. When I get in there, it's straight fighting. I got no time to be wasting with these flippity floppers in there, and I go in there to hurt somebody.
Now, the franchise question that we have here on Beyond Ringside is there are two moments for all of us in the sport and the business of pro wrestling. The first moment is when you become a fan of pro wrestling. The second moment is when the little light goes off over your head and you just sit back and go, damn it, I got to do this. For Don Maximo, what are those two moments?
I would have to believe it was Hogan Warrior at WrestleMania that I wanted to do this, and then the light where I really wanted to do it when it was Austin Michaels at WrestleMania.
Now, I have managed to follow some of the exploits. I know you as a singles competitor. I know you as a tag team competitor, along with your tag team partner in Beastmode.
Yes.
Former Vintage All-Star tag team champions. And
yes,
unfortunately, I always hate to use the word former, but there's always another opportunity. Now, do you prefer singles or do you prefer tag wrestling, or do you have an equal love for both?
I have equal love for both. If I had to choose a little bit more, I'll say tagging. When me and Bill Slater are out there, we just have a good old time, and we just like beating up people, and afterwards going to have a beer.
Make it a Bud Light. I'm perfectly cool. I'll meet you there. But
exactly.
Now, there are specific times throughout everybody's career in the sport of pro wrestling. There are moments that you'd like to redo, but by the same tokens, there are also moments that you'd like to relive because they were so much fun in the ring and everything just clicked. Whether it be to relive or to redo. For Don Maximo, what's that moment that you'd like to have back?
If I had to relive a moment, it would have to be last year at Wrestle Brawl. It's been just a big event of the year, and we had a TLC match against Team Lucha and Sanford and Milo Beasley. All the regret was that we didn't win that match, but I would love to relive it. It was a huge TLC match. We went out there, we put everything we had on the line, and it was crazy. Bodies falling everywhere. You know, I couldn't ask for anything more.
Now, let me go ahead and ask. As far as making your way, the inroads for Don Maximo, sorry, I'm nervous a little bit. This entirely different stroke for me tonight. As far as making your inroads into pro wrestling and making your way into training, who do you give most of the credit to?
FXC, my training facility. It was about 7 years, and went over there, trained with them, and they put me through hell to basically get ready for this world that I love in independent wrestling. You know, they definitely got me ready for everything that's out here.
First night, first match in public. Was it butterflies? Was it moths? Was it pterodactyls?
Oh man, it was definitely butterflies. It was in a biker bar, and I was in there with one of my trainers. I was probably in there for about 5 minutes, but yeah, it was definitely butterflies all over the place.
Scarier place to work, nightclub show or a television taping?
Probably television taping. Definitely scarier because you never know. You know, you gotta be on top of your game more than inside a nightclub show.
Now, taking a look on the horizon, Goldrush from Vintage All-Star Wrestling in Florida. I know that your tag team partner in Beastmode is slated to have a match, and let me go and ask you to tell everybody about that match.
Well, he's gonna be wrestling this punk, Francisco Chiasso. Yeah, he's been doing this for a while, but last show we sort of, let's say, taught the veteran a lesson. And, you know, he ended up suffering a shoulder injury and crying to the Vintage office that he wants a match with one of us. He just later did, what was it called? Paper, rock, scissors. He won. He's gonna get that opportunity against him. But Chiasso's dumb. I don't know what he was thinking about this, but he's going to get hurt. And he's going to get hurt over and over and over again.
Now, I know that you've also got a vested interest in the tag team match coming up between Team Lucha and the Dark Carnival. Give everybody a little bit of background, because I know that there's some bad blood all the way across the board with both teams between Beast Mode, Team Lucha, and the Dark Carnival.
You know, Dark Carnival is just two freaky guys. You got a guy walking around with a balloon and another guy that thinks he's a vampire biting people. That team is just a little too freaky for me. But Team Lucha, that's a personal one, because those were the first guys to ever and only pin us in vintage wrestling. We have never been pinned before, but those two guys were the ones that pinned us. And I'm going to tell you right now, we want them bad, and we will get our opportunity to get them.
Now, as far as you yourself, how many different areas of the country have you been able to compete in?
I mean, for me, just Florida and Georgia.
So you stayed...
I was still young to the game, you know, but I haven't really had the chance to really travel out as much as everybody else.
If there is one area that you would really like to go to Whether it be here in the lower 48 or abroad, where would that be?
I would say I would like to go to my home state in New York and see what they got up there. You know, I got family up there that's never seen me wrestle, and that'll be a good moment for me to go up home and check it out.
The double shot question for me. Someone comes up to you and asks, what is the best way? If there is one lesson that you can impart to somebody, what is the best way to make their way into pro wrestling?
Go to school. Learn your craft. Shut up, don't say nothing. Pay attention to what everybody's telling you.
How often do you get asked, why did you get into pro wrestling?
All the time. All the time. From work to going and taking my kids to school to my wife's friends, all the time I get asked that question.
And openly stated, what was the reason why you originally decided to get into pro wrestling?
I've always had an itch that I had to go try it. You know, it was just one of those once in a lifetime opportunities. And once I got in there, it stuck with me. It's just something that had to happen.
Do you feel, with the exception of, because I have had a chance to speak with a number of different people who work out of the Sunshine State, as well as the Southeastern United States, this seems to be the exception and not the rule. Having competed successfully in tag team wrestling, do you feel that the rest of the country needs to catch up to what we're doing to avoid tag team wrestling being a lost art?
I think everybody needs to jump on the tag team bandwagon again. Tag team wrestling is only dead because promoters want it to be dead. You know, there's still room for tag team wrestling. There's still some good teams out there that, you know, they have the passion for tag team wrestling. You know, I think everybody just needs to wake up, because the more that we shell out in the indies tag team wrestling, they're going to wake up in WWE and TNA, ROH. They're going to wake up and be like, okay, maybe we need to start looking at what's out there. You know, I think right now the Shield is the best thing that's going on right now with tag team wrestling. They had a great match on Sunday against the Usos, and I think that's proven point that tag team wrestling is still there.
Out of the big three, so to speak, and I say big three because they have national television exposure.
Yes.
To a great degree. WWE, ROH, TNA, which does justice to tag team wrestling?
If you was to catch me about 3 years ago, I would say TNA. But as of lately, and maybe like the last month since the Shield got out, I think the Fed is starting to catch around.
Where do you see yourself personally 10 years from now in pro wrestling?
Personally, hopefully in one of the big two, big three. You know, that's where I see myself. If not, hopefully still continuing in the indies and having fun and loving what I do.
Noting that you said earlier that you have more of a penchant for tag team wrestling than singles competition, if I were to ask you to name off the top of your head, I'm not going to hold this to you later in print. I don't play that game. Give me your favorite 5 tag teams of all time that you can think of right now.
LOD, Heart Foundation, Brainbusters. Yeah, I'll tell right there. There's a lot more. Haku and Barbarian. Oh, the Faces of Fear. That's what it was. And not to jump on to the indie scene, but Dark City Fight Club.
Corey Chavis and John Davis.
Yeah.
2-time National Wrestling Alliance World Tag Team Champions, if my notes are correct.
Yep.
And actually, Corey is a good friend of ours here on Beyond Ringside. He's actually come on for a Tuesday night conversation back when we were doing that series, and he actually came on with us this past weekend. And the Soul Assassin Corey Chavis is actually the current reigning and about to be defending Vintage All-Star Wrestling Heavyweight Champion. And matter of fact, this coming Saturday night in Sanford, Florida, Corey Chavis is going to be taking on nationally known personality in professional wrestling, very well-known athlete, Jay Lethal. If you had to make a bet on that match, who do you think you'd take?
I mean, I'm not turning my back on Corey. I think Corey got him. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. The guy's a beast. He's a monster out there. And there's a reason why he's the Ventus champion.
And it's strange for a lot of people to know the fact that the Dark City Fight Club, two men, Corey and John, who were closer than blood brothers, can end up having one of the most bitter rivalries. Because I know that at a previous show, the two of them just basically let it rip and let it fly. And if anybody got in their way, they were in trouble.
Well, I could tell you about that. That was definitely a crazy, hard-hitting match, and it was just the referee couldn't control it. When the whole locker room cleared, everybody felt it. You know, everybody was out there brawling at one point. Those guys, when they fight, a riot starts, and it's for good reason. There was definitely a lot of passion and a lot of hatred between those two. And, you know, next time I know better to stay my ass in the back, because I'm not going to jump in the middle of them again.
I tell you what, Goldrush coming up this coming Saturday night in Sanford, Florida. It's going to be at the Salvation Army of Sanford, 700 West 24th Street. And you have got some great names, some great matches lined up. That, I mean, I wish I could be there. I really do. And it's like, send me videos, send me pictures. I would love to see the show. Is this going to be taped for future release, or that you know of?
As of right now, all our videos are right now on YouTube.
Oh, cool.
And that will be released to YouTube also. But our current stuff, we are working on DVDs right now, as I know from the office telling me. So that should be coming out soon. But yeah, this is definitely an action-packed show, and it's going to be fun. A lot of people are going to have fun watching this.
Yeah, I had a chance to speak with Commissioner Can a little bit earlier, and I know that the commissioner will release only a certain amount of information. I figured you might be able to scoop him on a couple of things before he came on a little bit later in the night. Oops, did I say that out loud? Now, the Vintage Internet Television title match, Internet TV title. Yeah. Milo Beasley, a lot of people have been talking about this guy, and he's going to be taking on Shooter Storm. If you had to place the bet on that one,
Listen. Shooter's my stable mate. You know, he's a part of the elite. You know, Justin's going to be out there with him. I got to back Shooter 100% on beating Milo Beasley.
Well, see, I'm not trying to stir anything up, Don. I mean, you know me. It's like, and you know, we've had a chance to speak a little bit. You know that I would never try to get you to bet against your stablemate, or your tag, or anybody that you're closely affiliated with. I mean, even if, you know, I wouldn't do anything like that.
Yeah.
Leave it to the radio host to stir things up, okay, kids?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go pay attention now in the locker room when I get in there. I get yelled at by our manager.
Now, actually, one person I've been meaning to ask you about is the voice Justin Michaels. For those because there have been companies that will sit back and say, we're not going to use managers. There's companies that the right manager comes along, and for the voice Justin Michaels, what appealed to you, Shooter, Biff, everybody, when it came to somebody like him?
Put it this way, Justin Michaels, he talks a good game and backs it up. He promised us everything that he has given us. He promised us tag title shots, we went and got it. He promised us we'll be able to hurt people. He promised us girls. He promised us beer. He backed everything up. You know, the voice, it's right. He's definitely getting the game, and he's definitely holding us to where we need to be.
Now, I know you don't have a vested interest in this particular match, but it's between two people, one that I have followed for a while, and a lot of the matches, including world championship matches for other promotions like the NWA, and another person because, damn it, he's got the coolest name I have seen in a while with the exception of one other. And I'm referring to the Marquis, Bruce Santee, taking on the Lounge Lizard, Maxwell Chicago.
Oh, man. I mean, all that I can say is I feel bad for Maxwell. Bruce is a beast. He's huge. And he's definitely one of the toughest people I've ever been in the ring with. And, you know, first of all, he's going to put Maxwell in his place.
I have watched Santee on more than one occasion. I have not had a chance to keep up with Maxwell Chicago, but back in previous days, I was one of the characters that let's go and just play the card. When I first broke in as a manager, and one of the facets of my character was more or less a lounge lizard style person. And to see that phrase being brought back into vogue in 2013, it's like I had a mark out moment for that. I'm going, yes, Pop. And the only other nickname that I've seen that really just gets my attention, I think he also works out of the state of Florida, was Maximum Capacity. I don't know if you've heard of him?
Yes, I have.
Like I said, sometimes the nicknames catch me as like, okay, that's cool as hell. But in this particular circumstance, like I said, I don't know if you had a chance to listen to our first segment this evening when I was speaking with the Machine Guff Grayson. And I made the statement that if I didn't have a previous booking already set and ready to go, I would be in Sanford, Florida this coming Saturday night at the Salvation Army of Sanford for Goldrush from Vintage All-Star Wrestling, because I'm seeing all the different names that I've had a chance to keep track of over the last year or so. Ever since I've really started focusing a lot of our energy at Beyond Ringside to a lot of the promotions that it's like you see the names, you see the faces, and you hear about the locations, and then you sit back and go, we're going to start really heavily following this. And what do you, whether it be in singles competition or in tag team competition, attribute a lot of the success that Vintage has had?
I mean, it has to go to the office and the locker room. The locker room goes out there and busts their butt every single time. There's not one person that holds back. You know, every one of the matches could be a main event at Vintage, or a main event or any other show in the state of Florida. The office puts time and motivation into these guys. They're making sure that there's videos that's released to YouTube. They're making sure that we're getting the right stuff out there to the newspapers. There's flyering going on. It's just a whole big family thing going on right now, and that's the only one way I could just speak about Vintage is just a big family, even though we all hate each other.
Making our way 5 minutes before the top of the hour, Beyond Ringside, Back to Basics, Tuesday night. Fast Eddie Layne being joined by pro wrestling star Don Maximo right here on the Back to Basics edition. If there is one match, other than the one with your tag team partner in it, that you are really going to be watching, what match would that be?
Let's see.
But I'll rephrase the question. I'll rephrase it. What match, in your opinion, would be considered the possible breakout match or the attention getter match of the night? Without slighting anybody else. I mean, we all know, but by the same token, everybody has their perspectives. It's like, I'm really going to be watching this because this could just pop out at any moment.
I mean, there's really two matches that I see that could be match of the night, and I will definitely focus out. One being Mike Cruz and Leo Gold.
Okay.
You know, and the other one being John Davis and Teddy Stigma. And that's, of course, me not choosing Bill Slater or Francisco Schiasso, because I think Bill Slater is going to kill him.
And one match you and I haven't even looked at is TNA star Sam Shaw making his return to Vintage, and is going to be taking on the last rock star Eddie Graves. Do you have a vested interest on this one, or are you keeping an eye on it?
I mean, Sam Shaw's coming back home. You know, this is where he got his big push. He was a former Vintage champion, and him coming back home to take on Eddie Graves. You know, it should be a great match. You know, the last rock and roll star versus the stimulus Sam Shaw. It should be fun.
Now, in addition to the show this coming Saturday night, which, like I said, I know that you're going to be paying a lot of attention to a couple of different matches, especially the one with your tag partner in it. What have you got upcoming in the near future as far as appearances go, Don?
As of right now, we got Vintage Wrestling, and we're going to be focusing more on that. We're trying to go on to Brawl USA on August 18th. And also, we're looking at USWA in Jacksonville. We're still working on the details on that, but those are the three shows that we'll be coming up on soon.
How can people find you on the social networks?
Right now, just Facebook, Don Maximo at Facebook.com. And
knowing the fact that the commissioner is slated to join us in about 38 minutes from right now, Is there a message you want me to send his way?
I got 2 cents. I don't care about the damn commissioner. Let him come out here and talk whatever he wants to do. You know, he's probably going to yell at me at the show anyway for being on here, and I'll deal with him later, or he'll deal with me either way.
Don, I want to thank you for taking the time to come on board this evening on this Tuesday night edition. And also, I want to go ahead and say it. I said it off air. I'll say it on air, and I mean it from the heart. Anytime you've got an upcoming event that you really want to try to help get the word out about, anytime you've got an upcoming appearance that you really want to try to get the word out about, just shoot us a message, shoot me a message, let me know, and the floor is going to be yours.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. It was definitely a good time.
Folks, definitely take the time for our friends in the Sunshine State. Check it out. Vintage All-Star Wrestling from Florida this coming Saturday night. Goldrush 2013 at the Salvation Army of Sanford. 700 West 24th Street. And if you're not careful, you're going to find him. And if you're not careful, he's going to find you. Our very special guest at this time, professional wrestling star Don Maximo, has just gone beyond ringside. Folks, hang tight. We're going to be back on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network right after this.
So glad.
Taking it back to basics on a Tuesday night. You got it. This is Beyond Ringside. Live from the vault. This is Fast Eddie Layne, or what's left of him after this week. Damn, it's only Tuesday and I'm saying that. Special shout to tag team partners all the way across the board. You know who you are, on air, off air, and everywhere in between. Want to thank the Machine Guff Grayson for coming on with us during segment 1. Special thank you to pro wrestling star Don Maximo for joining us during our second segment this evening. And folks, in about 35 minutes, we're going to be joined by the commissioner of Vintage All-Star Wrestling out of Florida, Pete Cannon, right here on Beyond Ringside, Back to Basics. And right now, we promise, we deliver. Good friend of the family. And the man behind it all, not only with IWA Deep South, but also with LXW, the League of Extraordinary Wrestlers, and they've got a great event coming up this Saturday night in Sylacauga, Alabama. Kevin Brannon, welcome back into Beyond Ringside. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. Glad to be back.
Always a pleasure to have you on board, my friend. And I am definitely looking forward to this coming Saturday night. I've had a chance to take a look at the lineup, and you've got some great matches set and ready to go. And let everybody know right off the top, because first off, if they don't know where it is, they don't know where they're going to have the most fun. Let everybody know where it's going to be this Saturday night.
Okay, this Saturday night it'll be at the J. Craig Smith Community Center in Sylacauga. Address is 2 West 8th Street in Sylacauga. And so that's where it'll be. Bell time 7:30. Doors should open about 7.
Now, we have had a lot of fun at the J. Craig, whether it be IWA Deep South in the Cage of Carnage, whether it be the debut outing for LXW, and now the second installment, Dazed in Toyland. I'm just going to ask, where did you come up with that, man?
LXW, I don't guess we've properly introduced it yet as the new brand, but I'll go ahead and briefly talk about it. I come up with the idea watching, Chikara, interspecies wrestling, even like 5-on wrestling, and the Kaiju Big Battle, all these, off the wall, crazy feds, with the comedy and the crazy characters, and the $5 they've got their own brands, and so I kind of come up with the idea, and it was really good timing because the commission had just come in and decided to start regulating pro wrestling, and IWA shows, focused a lot on ultra violence, and that's not going to be something we can do on a regular basis anymore. And so it was kind of crazy how it come about. Is I had this idea like the end of last year, even before we knew anything about the commission. I said, well, damn, cause I wanted to try something new. I wanted to try something that would appeal to a wider audience, kids and families. But at the same time, I wanted to do something that I like to see. And these, there's not many of them, these, crazy, wacky, over the top,
off-the-wall promotion. You know, there's not many of them out there. And so I wanted to kind of create my own brand, kind of my own version, you know, of a crazy off-the-wall fed. And which everybody knows by now, Chikara, you know, they went under. So that's one less, you know, comedy character-based promotion now. So they've gone under. And so I just think it's a niche that hasn't been fully tapped into yet, because there's only just a handful of promotions that are classified under that label. And so, I don't know, and I've always been for trying, you know, stuff kind of off the wall, you know, crazy, out there stuff, you know, whether it be the ultra violence or whether it be the comedy and the characters. So I think it's a good change of pace from, you know, what we normally done with IWA. And so, I don't know if you're, Mabo, have saw the DVD from the first show. I thought it turned out really well. We focused a lot more on promos and backstage skits and stuff like that. And so that's what we're going to heavily do, a lot of backstage stuff, promos and skits and stuff like for the DVD audience. And so that's going to be another focus that we're going to be focusing on, you know, as we progress forward with more and more shows. So anyway, back to your original question. The days in Toyland, I just sit around one day and just come up with it off my head. I was trying to come up with something different to do. One of the staples that I came up with was custom, you know, themed rumbles, like custom themed rumbles, like, right, you know, different style rumbles. Instead of just having a regular rumble, you know, have a themed rumble, you know. And so we done the Plunder Buffet Rumble with the food at the first show, and I, you know, sit around and say, damn, what can I do different? So come up with the idea for the Toyland. So, I mean, that's just how it come about. I just sit around and try to think of different types of things, rumbles we could do, and then I, you know, come up with the toys. The food was a lot of fun watching the Thunder Rumble, but it was messy as hell. But I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, live, I thought, I mean, it was very entertaining. I mean, it was what it was. You know, it wasn't a catch as catch can, you know, 5-star, you know, hold for hold, you know, false finish, you know, Ring of Honor style match. But I mean, it was what it was, you know. Yeah. And for what it was very entertaining, I thought. But anyway, that's all I can think right now, Eddie.
Oh, no, that's perfectly cool. Folks, this coming Saturday night in Sylacauga, Alabama, it is going to be a blast and then some. I made the statement when we came on air tonight, we checked the egos at the door. And it's all about having a good time. Because I don't deal with drama. I'm not dealing with arrogance. I'm not dealing with BS. I'm playing the fun card. And this coming Saturday night in Sylacauga, Alabama, it's going to be fun. One of the matches I want to take a look at real quick is basically going to be a TLC match. How can you say basically and TLC in the same breath? I don't know. Especially not when you've got these two individuals involved. Spider Boudreaux and the Angel of Death, John Rare. Kevin, your thoughts on this match?
Everybody knows this feud started back at Carnage Cup 7.
Right.
The infamous stall match that John and Spider had, that, you know, had the infamous stabbing spot in there. Everybody to this day still talks about it. And so that started the feud for them, and they carried it over to Carnage Cup 8. And now they're carrying their bad blood over into LXW. But I told the guys, I said, look, guys, you know, I know what you've done, you know, at Carnage Cup, and, you know, it's crazy, you know, I mean, setting a new standard in the ultra violence. But, you know, LXW is a different type of show. You know, LXW is not going to have ultra violence. But I know you like, you know, the toys and you like the gimmicks, so the best I can do for you, you know, is a TLC match. And I said, that's fine. That's all we need, you know, TLC. But they promise they're going to make it the most hard hitting, high impact, crazy TLC, that anybody's ever seen around here. So they promise it's going to be a knockdown, drag out. I mean, it's going to be everything everybody expects and then some. So I'm looking forward to it. I think, gimmick wise, it's a little tamer than what they're used to, but still, these guys, they can tear it up, and no matter what the gimmick is.
Yeah, when you mention the word toys around people like Spider Boudreaux and John Rare, they're thinking about sawzalls and circular saw blades, and they're thinking, a 70-foot crane high in the sky right now. It's like they're going, yeah, that's about right. And to see these two get ready to go at it in a TLC match, this is going to be fun. And there's that operative word. Now, also, you've got a three-way dance coming up. Death Row versus Tojo Yamamoto Jr. versus Super Brown, Kev.
Yeah, Death Row, I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's been around for a long time. And he's wrestled for me on and off for years. I think he's probably about 20 years in the business. He had some dark matches back in like WCW main event, WCW Saturday Night, like in the early 90s. So he's done it all. He's been around the Southern Indie circuit for a while. I mean, he's just a good, old-fashioned, old-school heel, and that everybody loves to hate. Tojo Yamamoto Jr., I don't know a whole lot about him. I've only seen a couple of matches.
I've worked with him. He's really cool.
Yeah, I saw a match of his back at Birmingham Hardcore, and I was impressed. I mean, he'll pretty much just brawl with the best of them. His chops are really stiff, and I mean, he's a really good brawler. Super Brown, I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's a mainstay up at the USA Championship Wrestling up around Nashville at Burt Prentice, his promotion.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with him or not, but
not very.
He's anyway, he'll fit real well in LXW. Anyways, it's a black guy and he wears a Superman suit, and he kind of he's the sitcom The Browns. Well,
yeah.
That's where, he come up with his gimmick. He's Super Brown. So, Mr. Brown, off the Brown. Off the Tyler Perry with the Medea movies, Mr. Brown, So, that's kind of how he's fashioned his gimmick. This will be the first time I saw him. I saw several YouTube videos of him, but this will be the first time live I've seen him in action. So, it'll be interesting. And it'll be interesting. I don't really know what to expect. Other than Death Row, this be the second time I've seen Tojo and the first time I've seen Super Brown. So we'll see, man. I think it'll be good, though.
You've got a tag team attraction this coming Saturday night in Sylacauga with LXW, the Southern Skies, Dump Sanders, and Lil Gator, Jarvis Coleman, taking on the Backyard Superstars, Kyle Bakula and the Wicked Zombie.
Shit, man. It's going to be, one of the more comedic matches of the night. I'm looking forward to it. What do you think about that one?
Now, I've had a chance to catch Dump and Lil Gator before, and they are a riot to watch. Once again, there's that key word, fun, plain and simple. And I'm not familiar with the Wicked Zombie. There's very few things wicked that I'm actually familiar with in this day and time. Some things I thought I knew, but I don't. And Kyle Bakula, I loved him in Quantum Leap. That was a great show.
Yeah. What about his debut at the first show? First LXW.
Caught it, remembered it, enjoyed it.
Yeah. But Kyle, that was his first match, and his first match since breaking out of the yard, and Wicked Zombie is Kyle's longtime buddy. They started in the yard together, and now they're breaking into pros. So don't let that tag team name throw up a red red flag. Everybody says, "Oh, backyard." No, these guys, they're trained guys. They're just getting started now, but they are trained. They are trained guys. So don't let that name, put the red flag up. So, damn, he's booking backyard guys. No, they're not backyard guys. So I just go ahead and throw that out there to start with.
Thank you.
It's just a gimmick.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like, the factor of what's in a name. And there's some people who can be called wicked, other people who want to be wickeds, and the Wicked Zombie sounds like he could be a dead wicked. Who knows?
Yeah, and that's the whole thing with this promotion. It is off the wall. It's a parody promotion, and so a lot of the names are going to be out there. I mean, a lot of the gimmicks. I mean, that was the whole point of starting it. So this, I mean, it's going to be fun. I think this tag team match will be very entertaining, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
And I am very safe in assuming that the match this coming Saturday night that is going to be classified as a paradox is the factor of the average Joe Hogan, taking on the Ultimate Dragon.
10 stars, baby. 10-star match. I just can't wait. No. No, it should be good, man. I mean, they've had a feud that started several shows ago back on everybody's favorite promoter's show. Mike Jackson. I'm sure everybody on here really likes Mike. And anyway, they started a feud back with Mike, and they carried it over. There hasn't been a winner in 3 consecutive shows. There's been some kind of, it's a double DQ, double count out, time limit. So this show, I'm pretty much giving them no time limit, no DQ, no count out. There's got to be a winner. And so hopefully we'll have a winner come Saturday.
Yeah, because if there's anybody in this world who knows absolutely nothing about finishing a match or disqualifications or ending up a storyline or how to run a show, it would be Mike Jackson. I'm just kidding. I've known Mike.
Hey, let's just hope for our sake that it, that I won't regret, that I won't live to regret giving it no time limit.
As long as
I'm sorry, man.
Look, as long as nobody brings the mystery box, I'm perfectly fine with the night, okay?
Yeah.
And in the main event of the evening, to crown the intergalactic champion, Spider Boudreaux, Death Row, Little Gator Jarvis Coleman, The Wicked Zombie, Dump Sanders, Kyle Bakula, Big Pimp, and Tojo Jr., Frog, The Machine Guff Grayson, good friend of ours and longtime brother in arms, Coondog, Old Mustard, Super Red Solo Cup, not just Red Solo Cup, but Super Red Solo Cup, John Rare, Cornbread, Super Brown, Sicko the Clown, Falco, Acid, White Russian, a 20-man Dazed in Toyland Battle Royal to determine the new intergalactic champion this Saturday night in Sylacauga, Alabama, Kevin.
Yeah, and word has it, though, we're supposed to be visited by some UFOs Saturday. So whoever wins, they're supposed to take them back to wherever they came from.
Okay, cool.
Saturday, along with the intergalactic championship. So that remains to be seen. Hopefully no UFOs show up, but we just have to see.
Hey, look, I know some people that if UFOs show up, they'll be very happy individuals. I'll just look and go, damn it, I was right. See, told you. That's not my ride. Wrong planet. Second start of the right.
Yeah. But this should be interesting. I mean, it's going to be less messy. I mean, but it should be just as entertaining, if not more so, than the Plunder. Maybe more so in some way. I hope it's going to be a really good Rumble. I'm looking forward to it. What do you think?
I think it's going to be a great time to be had by all this coming Saturday night. Sylacauga, Alabama at the J. Craig Smith Community Center. Give everybody the address real quick.
Well, it's 2 West 8th Street, Sylacauga, Alabama, 35150.
Now, tickets and availability.
Okay, tickets are $10. Children 6 and under free. Advanced ticket special. If you buy 3, get the 4th free. You can contact myself at 256-223-2021, or you can call 205-585-5449.
Give those numbers one more time, please.
256-223-2021 and 205-585-5449.
Now, Blue Fedora Productions is going to be there this coming Saturday night. This is going to be a DVD taping, right?
That's correct. That's correct. It'll be a DVD taping released on Smart Mark Video, and we're in the process of working out a deal with High Spots as well. Right now, we just currently have distribution with Smart Mark, but we're working on distribution with High Spots as well.
Now, I've got to say this on a personal note. And you had a chance to speak with, you and I both spoke with Maybo, Mark Bowman, off air. And longtime colleague of ours, the Machine, Guff Grayson, a man we know as Big Daddy Guff Grayson, is making his return, the first step in the road to redemption. For someone who has not been in a battle royal for LXW, how much insanity is Guff Grayson in store for this coming Saturday night in Sylacauga?
It's going to be insane. I'd venture to say he's not been in a rumble of this style before. So, I mean, maybe he'll be ready. I think he'll be ready. We can just wait and see Saturday.
Believe me, we're all looking forward to it. The cast of Beyond Ringside is going to be in force and then some this coming Saturday night. And of course, I want to thank you again for the opportunity. I am looking forward to doing the announcing for this show. And also, you told me that Smooth and I are going to be doing some of the play-by-play work for the DVD, right?
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah, y'all be doing the play-by-play for the DVD tape.
Dude, this is straight up between me and you. I'm humbled, and I'm very appreciative. I thank you for the opportunity. I really do.
Well, I thank you for accepting, the bookings, working for me, and bring your expertise to the show. I really appreciate it.
Okay, this is where I'm going to go old school lady and say, dude, expertise? Me? Please? Are you high? I fake it like a hooker on dollar days.
Come on now. No.
I do not. Unlike some people, I do not take myself that damn seriously over here, okay? I am in the world of professional wrestling for one thing, and that's to have fun. And you know my home promotion, and I consider LXW IWA to be my second home. And between you and our mutual friend, I have fun at all of the shows. And that's genuine, that's real, that's a shoot. And whether it be IWA Deep South, I've had a blast at Cage of Carnage. That was a hell of a show. At the first LXW show, I had a great time helping to call everything. And I'm really looking forward to this coming Saturday night. Once again, my favorite word, fun. Plain and simple. I put the fun in dysfunctional. I'm not going to use that line, even though God knows it's the truth. But it is this Saturday night. Kev, any last minute message you'd like to throw out to the fans who are in the Alabama market, possibly Northwest Florida, Western Georgia, Eastern Mississippi, Southern Tennessee, who might be looking to come to the show this week?
If you're wanting to see a different product, something that's not your typical wrestling promotion, but that's an all ages event, for all ages. I wouldn't miss it. I'm not tooting my own horn, but to the best of my knowledge, nobody else is running a show of this type, in the South, to the best of my knowledge. So I wouldn't, if I was a fan, I wouldn't want to miss it,
Folks, mark your calendars, make your plans for our friends in our home market of Alabama this Saturday night. Sylacauga at the J. Craig. It is LXW Wrestling. And the man behind it all, right here, Kevin Brannon. Thank you for coming on this evening. It's always a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you.
Folks, we're going to head to the bottom of the hour break. And when we come back, we are going to be joined by the commissioner from Vintage All-Star Wrestling in Florida. Mr. Pete Cannon's going to be right here on Beyond Ringside. Hang tight, stay tuned, and we'll be back right after this. Plays, the microphones go hot, and we are live 22 before the top of the hour. Back to basics on a Tuesday night. This is Beyond Ringside. Fast Eddie Layne behind the control panel. Thank you for making us your choice on this Tuesday night kind of thing. And ladies and gentlemen, first off, before I go any further, we are going to be back at it full scale this coming Sunday night, 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. And you know something? We may just have some surprises coming your way. Before I go any further, just got a message just a couple of minutes ago from a longtime friend. Professional boxing fans, you are going to know the name. The Godfather, Michael Gibbons, will be rejoining us here on Beyond Ringside. First time in a long time. And we've got him this Sunday night, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Mark your calendars, make your plans. Ladies and gentlemen, we promise, we deliver. The man who is the interim commissioner. I'm just going to drop the interim and I'm going to say the commissioner. There's a reason why, and I'll tell you off air. I'll tell you on air because I'm the commissioner of another company up here and I don't like the word interim. So guess what? You're the commissioner. Big Pete Cannon, welcome into Beyond Ringside. How you doing, my friend?
I am fantastic. Another damn paradise as always. How are you, sir?
Hey, he just used, okay, long-time listeners, you may now sit back and wave at the screen going, he just used Eddie's phrase. You and I are getting off on the right foot right now. Pete, thank you for taking the time to come on board with us this evening. Before I go too far into the show, that you've got a huge burden on your shoulders, a huge challenge in front of you this coming Saturday night in Sanford, Florida at the Salvation Army of Sanford in Goldrush from Vintage All-Star Wrestling. Now, give everybody, if I could please, if I could ask, a little bit of the background on Big Pete Cannon.
Well, you know, I came up working with IPW Hardcore Wrestling with the hardcore giant Ron Nimi. A lot of hardcore Florida wrestling fans will know his name. Ran IPW Hardcore Wrestling, as I mentioned, one of the most successful promotions here in the Sunshine State. Had a little stint there doing mostly the hardcore scene before I started teaming up with Francisco Chiazzo, the King of Florida, at the Double Do Social Club. Not a story of an in-ring career as I've had managing the King of Florida and other guys in the Circle of Disrespect, the longest reigning USWA and USA Pro Tag Team champions, Simon Says and Francisco Chiazzo. And now I am at the helm of Vintage Wrestling, bringing fans top action in this state with the longest running independent wrestling promotion here in Florida with Vintage All-Star Wrestling.
And as someone who is speaking to you from Birmingham, Alabama, I'm jealous. Because you got the beach, the waves, the beautiful babes all the way around you in 2 different directions, and then some depending on how far south you want to go. It could be 3. And we had rain today. So, dude, I'm jealous.
Yeah, well, you know, we're no strangers to rain around here, Eddie. It's the worst kind of rain where the sun will be shining and it'll be hot and muggy, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, downpour. And 3 feet up the road, no rain, and then back and forth and off again. It's like a Christmas lights here with the rain. So we do have the beaches, we do have the palm trees, but we also have the sporadic rain.
I want to ask the franchise question for here on Beyond Ringside. There are 2 moments for everybody, regardless of their current situation or their situation in the world and their business and the sport of pro wrestling. And for longtime listeners, yes, I said business, drink now. I'll tell you that story off air. The first moment is when you become a fan of pro wrestling. The second moment is when you just have that little light bulb go off over your head. And it says, I've got to get in this. For Big Pete Cannon, what are those 2 moments?
Wow, you know, that's a tough question. I'm not exactly a spring chicken anymore, and I've had that light bulb knocked on and off so many times with the hardcore stuff in IPW. You know, growing up a fan, it's something that you love. It's something that you know. The first time I ever stepped into the ring, training with my good friend, also a longtime Florida wrestling veteran Barney Rumble. You know, it felt like I never left. You know, like that was my home. I felt like that was the place that I always was meant to be. And I guess that first day of training was when I absolutely knew that I had to be a part of this in any capacity, whether it was wrestling, managing, being a commissioner, you know, ring announcing. It's just that moment, the first day of training was when I knew that this was the right decision to make.
Now, in pro wrestling, we have so many different facets to so many different personalities. And dealing with, as the commissioner, or as you told me off air, the interim commissioner, with so many different personalities at Vintage right now, I'm not going to ask who the biggest challenge is, because that can change from moment to moment in the world of pro wrestling. It's like one person can be the godsend one day and the nightmare the next. What has been the biggest obstacle you've had to deal with at Vintage so far?
You know, taking over as the interim commissioner general manager of Vintage Wrestling that in itself was a huge task, because there's a reason why I'm not going to name any names, but the previous general manager was let go, and he was taking Vintage in a rather unpleasant direction, and it was up to me to do a little fixer, do a little cleanup, and bring the company back to the prestige that it was once, you know, revered as, because this is the longest running promotion in the Central Florida area for a reason. We've been around through thick and thin, and we have a little bit of a name. You know what I mean? Vintage Wrestling brings a quality of professional wrestling that no other promotion, honestly, can hold up to right now. And the toughest task was restoring the fan base, you know, cleaning up our good name, making sure that everything was taken care of and everyone was taken care of, not just the fans, but the talent. You know, our Vintage All-Stars. I'm a firm believer that if you make people feel important, they're going to follow you to the end of the earth, be that talent or fans or anybody. You know, and that was the toughest task, was as the new face of the head of Vintage Wrestling was, you know, bringing back Vintage's good name.
Now, we had a chance to speak with Don Maximo a little bit earlier. A lot of people know him as one half of the combination Beastmode. And noting the fact that this coming Saturday at Goldrush, the tag team titles will be on the line. Beastmode former champions, I'm sure, are going to be watching the match, even though one of them is involved in a match a little bit later in the evening, or during that card. And you've got Team Lucha, also known as Los Pendejos, taking on the Dark Carnival to keep tag team wrestling in the public eye, when a lot of people are calling it a questionable art or a lost art. When you've got teams such as the Carnival, such as Los Pendejos, such as Beastmode, how much does it make you smile when you can sit back and say, no, tag team wrestling is alive and well at Vintage?
You know, Eddie, you hit the nail right on the head. You almost took the words right out of my mouth. There's far too large a number of people who kind of washed their hands of tag team wrestling. And, you know, I came up as a tag team wrestler for a good part of my career with Francisco Chiato as a Double Do Social Club at Fusion Pro Wrestling. And, you know, it really hurts to see that part of the business, just like managers also. You know, those are the two things that are very near and dear to my heart.
Right.
And both of them falling to the wayside. You know, a lot of people predicting tag team wrestling is going to go the way of the dodo here soon, but not at Vintage, because we pride ourselves on keeping all of those alive. We have managers, we have valets, we have, you know, old school WWE type, and I hate to use the word chop matches. You know, we give chances to these guys that would normally not get a chance, and not everybody's going to put on a 15, 20-minute Broadway. You know, some guys get in there and they get their butts kicked in 70 seconds, and that's all part of the business. But back to the tag team thing, yes, it puts a gigantic smile on my face to see guys like Team Lucha and Beastmode and the Dark Carnival and the New Yorkers and all these tag teams that are up and coming and hungry and alive and well at Vintage Wrestling. And I dare say we have one of the best tag team rosters in the state right now. You know, and I'm very, very proud. I swell with pride to be able to say that Team Lucha carries our tag team goals and represents Vintage Wrestling, because they're all over the place. They're trained by Team 3D, and you can see them on just about every major show in Florida right now, and those guys have toured the U.S., and it's only a matter of time before you see them on your television screens at home, you know.
12 minutes before the top of the hour, you are listening to Beyond Ringside Live Tuesday night, Back to Basics. Fast Eddie Layne being joined by the interim commissioner. I'm going to drop the word interim before this interview is over with. You know this, right? Big Pete Cannon, live right here on Beyond Ringside. We're having a little bit of a discussion not only about he himself, but his perspectives on pro wrestling and the upcoming Supercard for Vintage All-Star Wrestling this coming Saturday night, Sanford, Florida at the Salvation Army. A lot of people are talking about the return of Sam Shaw to Vintage Wrestling this Saturday as he takes on the last rock star, Eddie Graves.
You know, Eddie, that's a surprise that I almost could not contain till the moment that we were trying to pull the trigger and announce it. You know, Sam Shaw, of course, is a Vintage All-Star original. He was there from the very first show many moons ago, 5 years ago. Sam Shaw was there, came up through the ranks at Vintage, known as Slick Sleazy, former Vintage heavyweight champion. He's been in the ring with some of the top stars in our business today. And, of course, got picked up, took the TNA gut check, and then took that opportunity and ran with it. And now he's coming back home to Vintage Wrestling Goldrush this Saturday night, taking on another member of the Team 3D Pro Wrestling Academy, the last rock star, Eddie Graves, who just came off of a phenomenal match last month at Hurricane Havoc against our Florida People's Champion, the real deal, Mike Cruz.
That sounds like it's going to be a great matchup. This coming Saturday night, John Davis. People around the country are going to know that name oh so well. Former World Tag Team Champion, along with his former, I hate to use the word former best friend. I hate to use the word bitter rival. But he and Corey, a lot of people know a lot about the Dark City Fight Club. But this coming Saturday night, for the first time ever, John Davis will be taking on the adorable Teddy Stigma.
You know, anyone who's anyone, Eddie, you said it best, knows about the Dark City Fight Club. One of the most decorated independent tag teams in our business, in the world, around the globe. Former NWA tag team champions. Those guys were as thick as thieves. And, you know, I hate to put on my promoter pants and jump up on my soapbox, but I've got a question for you, Eddie. Where else are you able to see these two former partners collide? Anywhere.
You can't.
It's just at Vintage Wrestling. And last month, the surprise appearance of John Davis, when those two guys clashed in the middle of our ring, there was not a single person that was stayed set in their seats. Everyone was on their feet. I have chills just talking about it, honestly. I'm not exaggerating. These two guys, and that's just the beginning. You know, John Davis is hungry. John Davis has a personal vendetta to prove against Corey Chavis due to the actions that Corey took against their former valet, Shane Doe. You know, laying her out with the ace crusher that Corey Chavis has put a lot of guys down with. You know, putting down Shane Doe. She's not an in-ring competitor. John Davis is coming to avenge Shane, and you're going to know he's going to be looking to take that Vintage Heavyweight Championship too. And this Saturday night at Goldrush, he takes on Theodore Teddy Stigma. You know, John Davis is personally one of my favorite guys to watch. I've known John for a long, long time. I've known John since when he first came up in the business, and he's come a long way. He's a guy that's turning a lot of heads and dropping a lot of jaws and raising a lot of eyebrows and getting a lot of notice. And you can see him live this Saturday night in Sanford, Florida for Goldrush.
This coming Saturday night for Goldrush from Vintage All-Star Wrestling, the Marquis, Bruce Santee, takes on the Lounge Lizard Maxwell Chicago. A lot of people are talking about this match, and I'm really looking forward to hearing about it. I would love to be there in person just to catch this match. Well, actually, the whole damn card is stacked to the gills, but this is one match that has actually got a lot of people talking.
So, if I can say this on air, after our conversation before we got started tonight, for those of you that don't know, Eddie Layne's favorite name in Vintage Wrestling is the Lounge Lizard Maxwell Chicago.
Yep.
And it pains me to say that there may not be much left of Maxwell Chicago after this Saturday night when the Marquis Bruce Santee returns to Vintage Wrestling after a brief hiatus. When you talk about heavyweights in Florida, for the last decade, Bruce Santee has been one of arguably the top unsigned heavyweight in our sport today.
Yes.
Bruce Santee, of course, you know, he's the Ring Warriors Grand Champion.
Yes.
He's been in the ring with guys like Cahagas, Chance Prophet, Steve Corino. Anybody who's anybody that's come through Florida has been in the ring with the Marquis, and there's very few guys. I think you can count on less than one hand the amount of people who've been able to pin Bruce Santee's shoulders to the mat.
It don't happen often.
What's that?
It does not happen often.
Not at all. They call him the Marquis for a reason. When you put Bruce Santee's name on the Marquis, you're guaranteed to draw a crowd because everything he does is explosive. Everything he does is smash mouth and hard hitting.
Yep.
And there's no one that's going to outshine the Marquis on any show, and he's coming to prove that Saturday night at Vintage Wrestling.
It's going to be a hell of a match, I guarantee that. In a grudge match, the King of Florida, Francisco Chiazzo, taking on Biff Slater with the voice, Justin Michaels, in his corner.
You know, this is going back to one of the first questions you asked me about what's the toughest part of being at the helm of Vintage Wrestling, and this is it. Is situations, circumstances like this, where Francisco Chiazzo is one of my best friends. He's my brother. You know, him and I have been up and down the road for 12 years.
Yeah.
And I'm very proud of the turnaround he's made. He's in the best shape of his life right now, and he's focused. You know, he's a completely different Frankie from, say, a year ago. The fans love him, and he reciprocates that love. And what happened last month at Hurricane Havoc, Eddie, without getting, you know, too biased, watching Don Maximo and Biff Slater with Justin Michaels in the ring, when they powerbombed Francisco Chiazzo and separated his shoulder, and I watched his head bounce off the mat. First of all, I knew he was in trouble from the second they slammed him down. And to watch as Don Maximo held Frankie's body, propped him up, for Biff Slater to spit directly in Francisco Chiazzo's face. Let me tell you one thing to all the fans that are listening, without rambling too much. Frankie's all about pride and respect. You know, he says it in his promos all the time, but he says it because it's true. Growing up, the kids used to carry his mother's groceries home from the bakery, and it was out of respect. Francisco Chiazzo is a 14-year veteran. Biff Slater got all the talent in the world. He's a monster. He's a house. One of the most imposing guys I've seen on the scene in ages, but you just don't spit in a guy's face, especially not a guy who's paved the way. And Frankie's very emotional. You know, just recently got cleared to start getting back in the gym, and he's been hitting it hard. And you know, he's coming off that separated shoulder. He's coming off that slight concussion. He's got, you know, chips in his elbow. His elbow's all swollen, and you know, hell or high water, he's going to be there Saturday. And you know, all the matches we've named so far, honestly, you could put any one of those matches in the main event. Yeah, it can main event any show in Florida.
I agree.
And this one is going to be one of those. It's going to be a fight, Eddie, and people. For the $15 that you'll pay at the door, you're not going to get a show like Vintage Wrestling. You're not going to get a show like Bruce Santee versus Max for Chicago, John Davis versus Teddy Stigma, or the King of Florida versus Biff Slater with Justin Michaels. It's going to be an emotional one, and I as the general manager, I have to fear for somebody's well-being in this match.
Now, here's the fun part, folks. We've covered 4 matches right off the top. You heard the fact that it's going to be $15 at the door. Any one of these matches is worth the price of admission. I guarantee you that. Because there are so many names on this card that we've just now covered, and we have not even gotten to the championship matches yet. The Vintage Florida People's title match. The Real Deal Mike Cruz defends against the All-Pro Leo Gold. It's 1st and 10, and can Mike Cruz handle the crush?
You know, All-Pro Leo Gold is one of these guys that has it. All-Pro Leo Gold is one of these guys that, again, a Team 3D graduate. He's a guy that's great shape. He's young. He's fast. He's strong. He's intense, and he's hungry. And he's a guy that's getting a lot of talk now, a lot of press in the Florida wrestling community. But Mike Cruz is a guy that, you know, I hate to sound biased, but the kid is one of my favorite guys to watch anywhere. Anytime you see Mike Cruz, I've heard him be nicknamed the human highlight reel. He's the real deal. He used to be known as the Prodigy, and all those names are fitting. You know, we don't call him those things just because he needs another nickname. We call it because the guy's exciting. I find myself holding my breath most of the time when he's in the ring. He's testifying. He's there's no words to describe this match. These two young guys have every ability to steal the show. On the show with John Davis and Bruce Santee and Francisco Chiazzo and Biff Slater and all these names, that's a really, really bold statement, if I do say so myself, to make. But these two kids are going to tear it up, and the real winners of the match are going to be the fans.
Amen.
Because for the Florida People's title, that title is for the fans, and they demanded the match, and we gave it to them, and these guys are going to go in there, and Leo Gold's got a lot to prove. This is his first big opportunity. You know, he's got gold in his name. The show is called Goldrush. You know, it's just one piece of the puzzle, and that's to take home the Florida People's title, you know?
It's going to be a great match. I really wish I could be there to see that one. Also, another match that a lot of people are talking about. Tag team gold on the line. Los Pendejos Team Lucha taking on the Dark Carnival, defending the titles against the Carnival. Pete, your thoughts?
This may be one of the most eclectic mixes, a clash of styles in this match. Los Pendejos, Team Lucha, two guys that are faster, quicker than a hiccup, if I can quote good old JR. Quicker than a hiccup. These guys, if you blink for too long, you're going to miss half of the match. As far as their speed goes, these guys can fly, these guys can mat wrestle, these guys are catch as can, and their aerial assault is off the charts. You know, they're no strangers to gold. They've held championships in the other promotions, and quite frankly, my favorite tag team, not just because they're our tag team champions, but the Dark Carnival's they've got all the bases covered, Eddie. They've got Oliver Grimsley, the leader of the Dark Carnival, who's small, he's also quick, he's experienced in the Lucha Libre style, but you have the Dark Horse, you know, the mysterious Sebastian Crane, who honestly the guy that gives me the willies, he gives me the chills. There's two guys on our roster that I would never, ever, ever want to encounter in a dark alley, and it's Death Row Jethro and Sebastian Crane. You know, the guy keeps to himself. We don't even see him half the time in the locker room. He's in excellent shape. The guy's built like a tank. And, you know, with the mix of his power, Oliver Grimsley's speed, Oliver Grimsley's sneakiness, this is honestly a toss-up, and that's the first time I've ever been able to say that about a match with Los Pendejos as tag team champions. This is honestly a toss-up between these two teams, and again, it's going to be a match that's going to be well worth the price of admission, but I honestly can't pick a winner in this, and we're just going to have to wait and see on Saturday night.
The Vintage Internet TV title will be on the line. The champion, Milo Beasley, defending against Shooter Storm.
The former champion of the Internet TV Championship, the title holder of the Jersey Bad Boy, Eric Cooper, held that title for 10 months. The man that held it before him, Simon Says, held the title for a collective 18 months. This is a very prestigious title to vintage wrestling. You know, it's the brainchild of former Commissioner Sean Solo, and we've carried the tradition over. Milo Beasley has been chasing that title for those collective 28 months. You know, feuding with Simon Says, feuding with Eric Cooper. He's been through a swirling torrent of pain and misery, if I can say that. And that moment when he captured the title last month at Hurricane Havoc is something that'll live into me, and it'll definitely be up for grabs for moment of the year when we have our yearly Golden Suplex Awards that the fans will vote on. You know, fans are standing up, strangers are high-fiving each other, Eddie. It's a moment I'll never forget. People were nudging and elbowing each other and hugging and cheering. You know, they were humming Milo Beasley's entrance music, and Shooter Storm had to jump in the ring and try to ruin the moment, try to take out Milo Beasley out of some misplaced sense of superiority. I don't know what it was, but Shooter demanded the match, and he's gone as far as to say that if he doesn't take home the gold and bring it back to the elite, he's walking away from Vintage. So two really, really, really big circumstances are on the line. Milo Beasley loses this title. The last 28 months would have been for nothing. And if Shooter Storm doesn't take home the gold, his career at Vintage is done. So this is going to be a match that you're going to pay the $15 for the whole seat, but you're only going to need the edge of it, if you know what I'm talking about.
You know, if you'd have told me that in advance, I could have done the VO for you on that.
No, you're absolutely fine. I'm just so excited about this. I forgot some of the details. Eddie. I'm just glad you're giving us Vintage Wrestling and our All-Stars an outlet on your show, which is fantastic, by the way. You know, I listened last week to Corey Chambers, and I'm hooked to have a lifelong fan of Beyond Wrestling Ringside right now.
I thank you. Very high compliment. Greatly appreciated. We've had Corey on with us 2 times before. This is actually Corey's second time on the show. He was gracious enough to come on for a Tuesday night conversation interview, especially during the I don't know if this is a taboo. Let's just say the aluminum rumble pony episode. He got me.
Yeah.
There's some situations that after they're dead and gone, I don't call that name, especially if that person's still trying to use that name in this business. But I'm also going to get heat here in Alabama for actually using the words rumble pony, but that's an entirely different animal. But, you know, Corey came on with us. Another person that you're very familiar with, probably Tommy Taylor, came on with us during that scenario. And it's been an honor to speak with different personalities from Vintage over the course of the last little while, and I'm really appreciative to the fact that Don Maximo managed to come on with us earlier this evening, and I'm greatly appreciative that you've been so gracious with your time coming on. We are 3 minutes after the top of the hour, Beyond Ringside Live, the Tuesday night conversation series, kind of, sort of. We are live in more ways than I've got active brain cells, and we're taking it back to basics. Right now, with the interim commissioner or general manager for Vintage All-Star Wrestling out of the great state of Florida, Big Pete Cannon, and we're discussing the matches that are coming up this Saturday night in Sanford, Florida for Goldrush 2013. And there's one match that's jumping out at a lot of people because it is for the Vintage Heavyweight Championship. The man, the Soul Assassin, Corey Chavis, defends against a man that you people have seen on national and international television and pay-per-view. Jay Lethal. One-on-one for the Vintage title this Saturday night, Pete.
You know, we could sit here, Eddie, and talk for the next week until showtime, until the bell rings for our event, and could still not be able to do this match the justice that it deserves. You know, but we're going to try. We certainly are, because Jay Lethal is a guy that Florida wrestling fans are no strangers to. Of course, you know, former TNA Impact star, current ROH star, and I know he's a guy that a lot of fans have been clamoring to see back in the Sunshine State. So it was my job to give the people an opponent that I know would deliver and that the people would be beyond happy to see. You know, no pun intended. And Jay Lethal was the guy. So I put in the call, and he's no stranger to Vintage Wrestling. He's competed for the Vintage Heavyweight title before, came up a little bit short, and now it's his chance against Corey Chavis. These two guys, another semi-clash of styles. You know, Corey Chavis is more ground and pound smash mouth, while Jay Lethal, you know, well-versed in mat wrestling and, of course, high-flying and a little bit of the lucha style.
Right.
And these two guys are going to absolutely tear the house down, in my opinion. You know, and Corey Chavis has been in the ring with guys like Tommy Taylor. He's been in the ring with Francisco Chiazzo. You know, just last month he duked it out with John Davis before an all-out havoc and brawl broke out at Hurricane Havoc. So you don't know what kind of aggression he's going to be bringing to the table, but you know it's going to be a lot of pent-up rage when the Soul Assassin steps in there with Black Machismo, Jay Lethal.
I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm looking at the card top to bottom, and every match has the potential to be main event. But there is always that one match. And being the interim commissioner, I know it kind of puts you in a little bit of a deeper spot. If I had to ask you to pick not the breakout match of the night, not the match of the night, the don't blink match of the night, what would that be?
The what match of the night? I'm sorry?
Don't blink.
Wow, that's... You know, right off the bat, I'm going to have to say the main event, because we call the Vintage Heavyweight title the richest prize in Florida for a reason. Every single main event leaves people with their jaws dropped and googly-eyed, because that's the way Vintage Wrestling delivers. As I said earlier, you know, it's personal to me. Francisco Chiazzo, the King of Florida, versus Biff Slater is going to be a match that people are going to be talking about for a long, long time. And I think every single second of that match is going to be something that the fans themselves are going to be able to feel and cringe. And it's going to be teeth-breaking and face-slapping and jaw-punching. And I won't be blinking during that match, I'll tell you that much, because especially with the voice just of Michael at ringside, you know, he's no stranger to dirty tactics, and, you know, that's going to play a factor. And Don Maximo, I know I'll do my best to prevent it, but I know he'll be lurking, and that's going to be an all-around package of Do Not Blink. The Beyond Ringside official Goldrush 2013 Beyond Ringside Don't Blink match of this event will be Francisco Chiazzo versus Big Biff Slater.
Very cool. Folks, mark your calendars, make your plans. It is this Saturday night, July the 20th, 2013, the Salvation Army Gym, 700 West 24th Street in Sanford, Florida. Tickets, $15 each. Kids, only $10. Now, what's your kids' parameters on that? I've been meaning to ask.
Anything below 10 years old.
Okay. So it's 9 and under, right?
Yes, and also, guys, don't forget you can pick up your advanced price tickets by visiting Sanford Flea World, Row B, at the 50 Million Toys booth. Ask for Tammy, and you can get your tickets for $12 for adults or $8 for kids. And, of course, if I may, Eddie, you can check us out at Twitter at Vintage FL or on Facebook at Vintage Wrestling Florida, and, of course, our official website, VintageWrestlingFL.com, where you can catch up with all your favorite All-Stars and write to us. We want to hear from you guys. Write to us on Facebook, on Twitter, and tell us what you want to see from Vintage Wrestling.
He was one step ahead of me on there. Everybody who knows this show knows the fact I was about to put you on the spot for all the internet guys. How can we find? Nicely done. I'm impressed. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. I can't thank you guys enough, and I can't praise this show enough. Not to be weird, but you have a fantastic radio voice too, and you give everyone that's been on this show. I've caught clips of other podcasts you do, and you do such a great service for the business. You know, anyone that knows professional wrestling knows that we can't do it without the fans, but we also can't do it without great supporters like you guys that give us the outlet to promote our shows and let our voices be heard. And Beyond Ringside is on the top of the list of the upper echelon, the pantheon of outlets. For as far as I'm concerned, you guys are all the way in Birmingham, Alabama, and you're allowing us to promote our show from Sanford, Florida. And for that, on behalf of everyone at Vintage All-Star Wrestling, we want to say thank you very much, Eddie Layne, to you and your crew and your staff here. And I hope that we're not strangers on the show.
Oh, believe me, you've got an invitation to come on anytime, and I want to thank you for the kind words there. It's humbling, it's flattering, and it's greatly appreciated. I thank you so much. I mean, from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much, because it's all about trying to help all the way across the board, getting the message out, getting the word out, and letting the fans know, because there are fans in every state of the union. There are fans all around the world who are looking to get away from their television sets, who are looking to forget about the pay-per-views that leave them feeling flat 5 minutes after they're done. And when you get a chance to get out from in front of the television set, to get out the door, go down the street, and make your way to a show like Vintage All-Star, Vintage Wrestling Florida, in Sanford this Saturday night at the Salvation Army Gym. Look, folks, I'm going to shoot for a second. There are companies that charge $15 and $20 that don't have half this talent.
Wow. Thank you very much, Eddie. And I always tell people, for the price that we charge for our vintage events, you can go see a 2-hour movie, 2.5 hours. You could go have a decent meal. But this is an experience. Vintage wrestling, and I'm not trying to fluff our egos, but I'm of course, I'm a very, very firm believer in the product that we put on. And we provide a service, an event, an experience that people won't forget. We don't shun the fans. We're all about our fans. And the guys take time to go out and meet and greet the public, the community. We've done charity work, all over the place. We do appearances. We promote out of a local establishment, Hammerhead's Beer and Wine Bar, where a lot of our guys go hang out and host karaoke nights just to meet the fans and to see them away from the ring and know that these guys are so thankful for the fan base that we have. We call them our Vintage Nation, and we're very proud, tonight and last week to have Beyond Ringside be a part of that Vintage Nation, because you guys provide a superior product as well as with vintage wrestling. There's too many people polluting the wrestling business right now that they think because they grew up a fan and they own a pair of Hot Topic shorts and a John Cena shirt that they're in the business, and I hate the way it's watering things down. So it's nice to see people of a higher quality putting forth the effort to make the business the way it should be, because this is really a magical business is what it is.
It
and
really
Vintage
is.
Wrestling is a company like no other, and your show is a show like no other.
Well, I tell you what, when the situation rolls around, if the next show falls on a night when I have a weekend off, I'm going to make my way down there, and I would love to be able to try to do BR either live or pre-recorded from a vintage show.
If you could see the fat smile on my face right now, there will be tickets, cookies, and Pringles waiting for you at the door if you choose to come out to a Vintage Wrestling event, sir.
Just save me a couple bottles of water and I'm good.
No, we're starting the road to our biggest show of the summer, August 10th, which will be Summer Bash. You know, and the road is already winding. You know, we got a lot of big things in the work for that event, and every year it always delivers. So August 10th will be the one in the summertime, the hottest event of the summer in Central Florida. So
do me a favor and please keep us posted, okay?
thank you so much, Eddie.
The door is always open. By the way, Pete, how can everybody find you on the web?
I'm on Facebook as Pete Cannon. That's, Cannon, Pete Cannon. You can always reach me and write to me through the Vintage Facebook and stuff, and the admin of the Vintage Wrestling Facebook will actually send us any of the All-Stars that you write to. He relays the messages. You can hit us up at VintageWrestlingNetwork@gmail.com. And our YouTube page is also Vintage Network and the number 1. And any of those avenues, all the admins and the webmasters of the website can relay the messages, the emails, the questions, suggestions. Or like I said, I'm right there on Facebook. You can find me as Pete Cannon on Facebook.
Folks, for our friends in the Sunshine State, definitely take the time. Get out, check out the show. It is going to be a great time. It is this Saturday night, July the 20th, 700 West 24th Street in Sanford at the Salvation Army Gym. It is Vintage All-Star Wrestling. The Goldrush is on, and it's Goldrush 2013. I want to say a very heartfelt thank you, and remind, if I could please, Pete, anytime when you get ready to start setting everything up for the next show, shoot us a message. Let us know. The door is open. The floor is yours. You got a guarantee on that.
Thank you so much, and you have a good night, Eddie. Thank you very, very much.
Folks, our very special guest, the interim general manager, the interim commissioner. I'm just going to drop the word interim. He is the general manager. He is the commissioner for Vintage All-Star Wrestling out of Florida. He is Big Pete Cannon, and he has just gone Beyond Ringside. Folks, hang tight. We're going to be back on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network on this Back to Basics Tuesday right after this. Gotta love it. Going into overdrive, going into overtime, and getting ready to take it home on the home run round right here on this Tuesday night. Back to Basics on Beyond Ringside Live. I want to take a moment to say thank you to everybody who's been checking us out this evening, whether it be over through BeyondRingside.com, whether it be through Ustream, Winamp, Facebook, you name it. And we've got new venues coming on in the next couple of weeks, as far as ways that you can catch us live as well as the recorded editions. Don't forget, you can definitely catch us beyondringside.podomatic.com is our podcast site. It is available for download, or you can catch previous episodes and interviews available through that site through iTunes. So definitely take the time, catch us through there. I'm sitting back in the screensaver that I've got on my DVR right now is Daniel Bryan doing the yes gimmick in John Cena's face last night, Monday Night Raw. And I don't care. There are moments in the world of pro wrestling that are just fun to watch. Now, you have to remember, Brooklyn, New York, the New York, New Jersey area was the Monday night after WrestleMania, if you remember that. And the fact of the matter stands, they were very brutal and brutally honest to a number of WWE stars, to a number of matches that were on that show. This is something that we genuinely need in pro wrestling and sports entertainment. And I have said it before, and this whole Back to Basics edition, for everyone who's going to catch this on the podcast, on the replay, for those of you that are catching this live, The original mission statement on Beyond Ringside is to shine a light on independent wrestling, the stars, and the promotions. We're not afraid to talk about the majors. We're not afraid to talk about WWE. Vince McMahon hasn't given me a damn dime, and I don't expect him to anytime in the near future. I'm not afraid to talk about TNA wrestling. I'm not having sex with Dixie Carter. Not that that would make a damn bit of difference. And I'm not going to say anything negative about Ring of Honor because I like their product. Look, not to mention I've got friends who work for the company. I've got friends who work for WWE and TNA. But by the same token, I am a genuine fan of what Ring of Honor is doing, and they're pulling it together that much more every week. And you will probably hear more about Ring of Honor right here on Beyond Ringside. We've got some great guests lined up in the near future. David Elder and Matt Lavelle are going to be coming back on with us, folks. I'm talking about Strike Hard Mixed Martial Arts out of the Alabama market. Longtime friends and family of Beyond Ringside are going to remember the name Michael the Godfather Gibbons. Slated to come back on with us in the very near future. We're working on next week. I've heard that Michael's picking the gloves back up. Actually, Michael let me know. It's like, dude, I'm not even going to try to come back unless I come on this show first. Because Beyond Ringside has always been great to me. And it's like, dude, you're family. Yes, I'm sitting back saying that the Godfather is family, okay? Leave me alone. Hey, it could have been worse. I could have done my Batman voice, as Mabo likes to call it, okay? I'm Batman. I'm still popping over the fact that I've got a station here in my home market that's showing Justice League Unlimited. I'm happy about that. Hell. Couple of things I want to touch on real quick, folks. Like I said, I want to say thank you very much to professional wrestling star Don Maximo for joining us here this evening. Thank you to Kevin Brannon, the promoter with IWA Deep South and LXW. And LXW, of course, their show coming up this Saturday night. Special thank you to the interim general manager. I said I'm dropping the word interim. Guess what? Special thank you to General Manager Pete Cannon. Big Pete Cannon for joining us here on the Back to Basics edition of Beyond Ringside for our friends in the great state of Alabama, for our friends in our home market. Definitely check it out this Saturday night, Sylacauga, LXW Wrestling at the J. Craig. For our friends down to the Sunshine State, Vintage All-Star Wrestling this Saturday night, Sanford, Florida. It is going to be a great time. Both shows have got some great firepower. Both shows have the promise of being fun. And we've made the reference, if the show is $10, $15, $20, and you can go check out a movie if you want to, but if you get a high spot during that movie or a great spot during that movie and you try to stand up, cheer, and applaud, chances are you're going to get kicked out of the damn theater. You go to a pro wrestling show, you go to a mixed martial arts event, you go to a boxing show, you can stand up, you can cheer, you can boo, you can cut loose, let it rip, and have a little fun. Scream till you are content. And it's perfectly acceptable. Keep that in mind. We've got some big surprises coming up right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network over the next few weeks. Do not blink. You will miss something if you do. Folks, I'm going to go ahead and say we're going to head for the radio ranch at this point. I've got dinner ready in the other room, so that's the easy way for me to say that right now. Let me go and switch headsets real quick. Bear with me. To Big Daddy Guff Grayson, also known as the Machine Guff Grayson, thank you for coming on board this evening. It's great to have you back. And Guff will be joining us again in the near future. The Man Called Evil, Adam Smith, slated to rejoin us in the very near future. The Hitman, Ryan Adcock, scheduled to join us. Zen Master, Doug McGarry. The Understudy, Rogers Alley. A lot of the familiar names from days gone by are coming home. And some of the best and the brightest stars on Beyond Ringside that you have heard over the last few months. Some of them hanging tight and coming along for the ride. Most importantly, thank you for listening. Whether it be live, whether it be the replay. I hope more than anything else that we've been able to entertain, to help you find a reason to smile, maybe laugh, maybe roll your eyes and go, oh God, did they really say that? But I'm saying this from the heart. No matter who is on the other side of the phone, no matter who is on the other microphones, you have a guarantee from me that I'm going to do everything that we can here at Beyond Ringside to keep it fun. No drama, no stress, no worry. Whether it be Sundays, 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central, 3:30 Pacific. Whether it be Tuesday nights, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. And you never know what's on the horizon. We're taking it all the way across the board, back to basics. BeyondRingside.com is the home site, at Beyond Ringside on Twitter. Facebook.com/Beyond Ringside Live is the fan page. Please drop over, check it out, and definitely like us on Facebook. Me personally, at Fast Eddie Layne, Layne over on Twitter. Facebook.com/Fast Eddie Layne, but more importantly, FastEddieLayne.com. To my tag team partners on this show, thank you. You are appreciated, whether you believe it or not. Keep that in mind sometime. Until next time, we'll see you this coming Sunday, 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central. For all of us here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network, this is the Magic City Motor Mouth Fast Eddie Layne, saying adios, das vidania, hasta luego, auf Wiedersehen, ciao, sayonara, adieu, arrivederci, farewell, abbasinio, au revoir. And aloha means bye-bye. Guff Grayson, thank you. Don Maximo, thank you. Kevin Brannon, thank you. Pete Cannon, thank you. And most importantly, folks, thank you for listening. Hang tight, come along for the ride, as we all go Beyond Ringside. Bye for now.